Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Brown Mint Horror's Behind the Horror. We are here with the cast and crew of Evil Under the Skin, a 2019 release from Mr. Jeff Schneider. Directed this film starring Helene Udy. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I probably should have asked beforehand. Along with Carl Bailey.
And you got right, so good.
Got that one right. Good, American name. We nailed it. Once again, it's JC and RL down there at the bottom. Thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. This is gonna be a great discussion. So basically, Jeff Schneider is our director, and our main actors here are Helene and Carl. The synopsis of this film: basically, a mother and a daughter head off for a secluded weekend to reconnect. Little do they know the sordid past of the home they're staying in, or the strangeness it attracts as they descend into madness. Now, that's straight from IMDb. May not be the number one best synopsis for this film because it has some good twists. But nonetheless, great flick. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Glad we got to check it out. We're going to start off with some introductions. We're going to start off with our director, Mr. Jeff Schneider. He is the director of over 15 films, clocking in right at about 20, according to IMDb. Hails from Boise, Idaho. Jeff, tell us who you are and how you got associated with this film.
Once again, my name is Jeff Schneider from Boise, Idaho, as you mentioned. I've been working in film since right around 2000, 2005. How I got associated with the movie is a friend of mine and Alain's and now Carl's, Luc Bernier, had come up with a script, and we talked about doing a film together. And Luc has a way, because he's just the nicest guy in the world, of getting people attached with projects and getting people motivated to get together. And so how I got associated with the project initially was through Luc, and he got everyone else sort of wrapped into it. One of the other players in the film, Tim O'Hearn, we were lucky enough to get Carl to be the sheriff in the movie. And he, of course, does a great job of being the sheriff. But that's how I got attached to the movie.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Love hearing the backstory on how everybody kind of got together. That's basically what these introductions are. Next, with Mr. Carl, a longtime successful Texas high school football coach, launched into a flourishing acting career with no background or training in the entire industry. Let's see. Carl began his second career as NBC's Chase as a recurring U.S. Marshal, and rapidly started being a featured player in major film productions such as the Quentin Tarantino film Django Unchained. But horror fans, Mr. Carl Bailey was also in the 2013 Texas Chainsaw film.
Exactly. One of the big roles of early in my career. I loved it.
Listen.
On set with the great, fantastic Gunnar Hansen, and also the wonderful Scotty Eastwood and Dan Yeager, among others. So
fantastic. We love us some Gunnar Hansen. RL's going to definitely tell his Gunnar Hansen story to you.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Worked with those guys for 5 or 6 days on that film. It was a great time out in Shreveport, Texas.
Fantastic. Have you heard about the reboot?
Yeah.
We're super excited. It's going to be a direct sequel to the original. It's going to be really cool.
Very pumped.
Maybe Helene, who is up next, there may be a direct sequel to My Bloody Valentine that she might be up for, although she met her demise in the original. But anyways.
Are you talking about the Valentine's Bluff fan film?
Pardon?
Are you talking about the Valentine Bluffs? It's called Valentine Bluffs, and it's a fan film. Are you talking about that?
No. Didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, that's good too. There's there's a fan film that's being put together, My Bloody Valentine, that's being put together by some really talented.
We love fan films.
We sure do.
It's one to watch. It's going to be, I've read the script, and it's great, and it's full of thrills and chills, and a real takeoff on the original. It's the future of it. So it is
nice
a sequel, but it's a fan film sequel so far. So
My wife and I, so not to get ahead of ourselves, Brown Mentors, we have Miss Helene. How do you pronounce your last name, dear?
My name is Elan Yudi.
There you go, folks. So
No,
she said that she was coming to Nashville here soon. So you're going to be getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
where
I've been there.
Well, Brown Mint Horror is based in Nashville, Tennessee. We call it Slashville. So you had some work done in The Dead Zone and My Bloody Valentine, obviously in the 80s. And then in the 90s, it looks like you played the part of Myra on Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, which was kind of your main role there for a while, right?
That's right. Yes, my biggest claim to fame, if you don't count My Bloody Valentine. And yeah.
Oh, we count it.
We definitely count it big time. We count it 2 or 3 times.
Absolutely.
So let's check this out. Here we are. Jeff, Elaine, and Carl, thank you guys so much for being on with us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to move right in to RL's favorite part of the segment. RL's going to take over some horror trivia for us. We're just going to get together and, feel each other out and see where we're at in the horror realm here.
So today, while we were kind of piecing this together and seeing where we wanted to go, we were thinking about, how to tie some of this stuff together and get some trivia questions, because usually we ask these trivia questions and sometimes they're a little more difficult than they should be. This is supposed to be an icebreaker. So JC here came up with some questions. He hopes that we'll get these right and we'll
Fingers
go from
crossed.
there. So number 1 is going to, who's it going to, JC?
Number 1 is going to Miss Elaine.
That's not how you say her name.
How do you say it?
Alon? Yeah.
So Jeff's got it right. It's like the initials LNLN, and the last name is also like the initials UD. So UD.
So it's
LNUD.
Ellen.
I got it.
Ellen.
I got it.
Uh-huh.
All right.
I got it. Ellen.
For like a week on how to say it. So Luke was always like, I'd go, all right, Helen, it's Ellen. And then Luke would come up, and he's French Canadian. So he would come up and he would go, it's Alain. I go, all right, Helen. No, it is not Helen.
That's why we just go by initials.
That's right, exactly. We keep it as simple as possible here because we definitely be messing some names up. All right. So Ellen.
Yes. Woo.
Just real quick. So you're going to get the first question.
Right.
So the first question to you is, what was the occupation of the killer in My Bloody Valentine?
He worked in a mine.
That's correct.
Miner.
Wow.
That is correct.
No,
I feel like you really kind of handed her that one, JC. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
it's fine. Hey,
she's
Carl,
got a lot of street cred coming on the show.
Carl, yours is gonna be easy too, buddy. Don't you worry. I got you. So,
hey, RL, your other earpiece is doing staticky stuff off your shirt.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me just pull this thing right back up here. All right. Is that better?
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Carl. So number 2 is for you. Robert Englund played the killer in what horror franchise?
Oh man, is that the one with the Krueger guy in it? I guess.
It is the one with the Krueger guy.
Ready.
It is the Nightmare on Elm Street series. We're gonna pretend like you got it right. It's fine. I mean, it was right, sort of. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right,
take
Jeff.
Jeff. We should know these. All right.
Jeff, this one's for you, man. So Damien is the name of the child in which devil-based horror classic?
The Omen.
Ding, ding, ding. For sure.
Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you. Everybody got their question.
Wow. I mean,
it's a first.
Easiest.
It's a first for Brown Mint Horror, if we're behind the horror.
I mean, if you guys go back and watch any of our videos, literally JC was asking them questions from like the very first horror movies that were ever made.
Right.
So like they had no idea what was going on.
Answer is not Nosferatu.
Right. So he threw y'all some softballs there, but that's okay. We like to just play a little game there. So JC, let's do what we came to do.
Yeah,
right?
Let's talk Evil Under the Skin.
Yep. Let's talk about Evil Under the Skin. Jeff, you were telling us how you got related to the film. They kind of brought it to you. So that kind of sums up a little bit of our first question. But, where did this come from? Obviously, the writer came to you and wanted you to help direct and produce and all those things. But how did this come about? Where did this thought come from?
The basis of the story is from Luc Bernier, and he helped to produce and write and wrote the story. And then we added in some extra characters to sort of flesh out the story as well. But Luc he really likes to do things that are different, and he's very bold in the fact of he'll come up with ideas and he'll write stories, and they're the stories that he likes to tell, and they're movies that he likes to make. And that's something I really admire about Luc. So where the story came from and where the ideas came from was Luc. Is he'll think of actors that he's worked with and people that he's friends with that he knows, and he kind of writes to those individuals. So the lead character was very much written for Ellen. Donna's character was very much written for her, and we were fortunate to get Tim, and then Carl and Pamela Such as well as Fred Ortman and Colton Baumgartner in the picture also. But where it came from initially was Luc's very unique sense of style and writing ability and writing style, and he was the origin of the story, definitely.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, we thoroughly enjoyed the story, especially the ending. So tell Luc that he made a really good twist ending that I think all of our viewers are going to be very excited to check out.
Absolutely.
Next question is for Miss Ellen.
Yes.
You've worked on several horror projects over the years. Tell us how were you approached to do Evil Under the Skin, and what made you accept this project?
Well, Jeff is right. Luc is the writer of the script is a very, very good friend of mine. In fact, it's Luc that kind of drew me out of retirement. He sort of came to me out of the blue. We became fans over Facebook for about a year, and he kept saying to me, "Why are you working more? Why are you working more?" And I was like, "I don't know what there is to do." And he said, "Oh, there's tons of stuff going on in the indie horror world. Here, let me get you connected." And he actually got me a couple of jobs.
Nice.
He introduced me to Jake Zelch and, gosh, a number. I'd have to look at my resume to see how many films Luc is responsible for me getting. Actually, he was my agent just because he was a friend. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so he did additionally write this script with me in mind, because by then we were friends, and he got it to Jeff, and I was lucky that Jeff accepted, to have me cast in the movie, because nothing's ever given. But that's really how I got cast in the movie. I have it's great when you have friends in high places, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And you also have the horror credentials here. Okay. Nothing's gonna take away Bloody Valentine, nothing's gonna take away Dead Zone.
Right.
Pardon?
Pin is another good one from that era.
Really? Pin?
Fantastic movie.
Okay, make a note of that.
Yeah, Sandra Stern is the director of that. Yeah.
Writing that down.
Yeah.
RL, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, Carl, it seems like when going back through all of your different roles, there's a little bit of a trend there, right? Law dog, law man, law. It's always got law.
Laying it law down.
Laying the law down.
I started this business as a Texas high school football coach. I was an athlete, and when you coach, the idea is to win the game. Well, it's a little bit different in this business, this industry. You don't necessarily, you're not out to win, but you obviously you want to book roles. So as a coach and started going to acting classes and workshops, everybody was kind of like, you have to do all of it, do this. But as a coach, you know, I'm going to put you out there on the football field and put you in a position where you're successful, where you can have success. I'm not going to stick you back there at quarterback because you can't throw the damn ball, or wide receiver because you can't catch.
Here we go.
Where I'm going to put you on the offensive line so you can, you know, run over somebody and block them. And so in this business, I found if you find something you do well, keep doing it. You know, ask those guys out there in the horror industry, and everyone will come across, and it's a niche world. So I don't mind being typecast. I'd rather be cast.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So, you know, bring the sheriff, bring the FBI. You know, I just did a deal in Austin a couple of weeks ago. I was an FBI agent, clean cut. When I got booked on this role in this film by Jeff, I was actually working on a Western in Ohio with Tim O'Hearn. And Tim's in the film with us. And Tim said, "Hey, Coach, you know, I'm working on a film out in Oregon. I think they're looking for a sheriff." I said, "Really? Well, that's what I need to do." So right there, we called Jeff from Ohio on set, and Tim talked to him, said, "Hey, I'm working with this guy, and he'd be a badass sheriff." And so, you know,
hell yeah, you would.
It's kind of like you know, networking, connection, and I'll be all day long if you want to cast me.
There you go. Exactly. Well, you kind of answered our next question, honestly, Carl, with, you know, we were going to talk about where it was filmed at. So you're saying it was filmed in Oregon, correct?
Oregon. We stayed out the lake. Jeff rented a house. We used the house for, you know, one of the sets on set. We lived there. We stayed there. They cooked meals for us. It was a great atmosphere. And since that time, I've done several other films where you go in, they rent an Airbnb and they use it for the crew and actors. I was out in California working on a film, and they had like 3 Airbnbs rented out. So great way to do that too, especially for the budget.
RL, I don't think we've heard that yet. That's
no, I think the last one that we had talked to, they had one of them was doing a shot in the woods, and they had rented some cabins out there. One of the cabins was kind of part of the set, and it was actually where one of the director had actually stayed there as a kid and decided he wanted to film a movie there. So they went and rented the same cabin that he stayed in, and so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, obviously we're trying to work under a budget. You know, what's the best way to do that is try to use multi stages for everything, and kind of keep everybody under one roof. So how long did it take to shoot the film?
But you, Jeff, can you answer that for us?
We shot it. It's been a while, but it was right around 7 days, maybe 6 days that we shot it in. We had an idea, might have been a few more days than that, if I remember correctly, but it wasn't very many more. So we'd really done a lot of pre-production as far as what we wanted to shoot, where we wanted to shoot. And of course, as you know, if you've ever been on a set, everything you plan does not go as you plan.
Right.
We had all sorts of issues. We were shooting outside, and it was like the last weekend, apparently, before everyone closed up shop and buttoned up their homes, so every lawn was being mowed. We had a fire truck just show up next door to us because the neighbor had a heart attack when we were trying to shoot.
Jesus
we had
Christ.
A guy in a boat out on the lake blasting Journey when we were trying to do the scene between Pamela Such and Carl Bailey, where they were having this emotional moment. It's the picnic scene. So they're having she's telling the story about when she was a child, and Carl's listening intently, and about the house, and we're sort of unpackaging this. And there's this guy, he's got these huge speakers mounted on this speedboat, and they're ripping around on the lake. And like, there was nothing, and there's never anything going on when you're not shooting.
Right.
Like when you're not shooting, dead silence. This is going to be the best place to shoot ever. But yeah, it was about 7 days that we took to shoot it. And you can only really shoot that fast when you have guys like Carl You have gals like Ellen, and you have to have. We just recently shot 3 other movies up here in Oregon, with Carl and with Ellen, and you just have to have actors that are willing to go for it, because it's completely unreasonable. It's completely unreasonable. We're going to go and shoot a movie in 5 days, 7 days. And here you are out there. You have to have actors like Ellen. All right, Ellen, we're going to shoot, 7 pages of dialogue. Okay, you're going to be eaten alive by mosquitoes. You bet. We're going to need you to do all these things. All right, I'm on board. And the same with Carl. It's just, when you have pros like these guys, and anyone who's watching this, if you're listening, hire these guys. You're not going to regret it. They're the best people to work with. They give you 0 problems. There's 100% return, 1,000% return on what you get. So that's the only way you can shoot movies like that and get anything usable, anything workable, is to have folks like these guys in your corner.
Thanks, Jeff. I'll send you that 20 in the mail.
Right.
He makes you guys sound so good. Like other actors and actresses are hard to work with.
What?
I don't know where he comes from with that. I've never met actors or actresses that were difficult ever. I'm sure they're not.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I guess, obviously when we talk about our independent films, we talk about this a lot. I think one of the funny things about it is that we mention a lot of times what were some of the pain points of filming this project. And it's kind of funny, JC, now that I'm thinking about that question in my head, is do you know what's great about most independent filmmakers is that typically, other than the strain of we shot it in 7 days, or we shot it with no budget, there really are never any pain points, JC. Like I don't hear them complaining.
Sort of like labors of love.
Right. I mean, he just said, I go to Ellen and I say, hey, we're going to do 3 days worth of work in 4 hours. Are you ready? And she says yes. Or Carl, hey, you don't have anything to do, you mind holding this boom mic for about an hour while we do blah 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 blah? And there's never anybody who says, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that. Like, you can whatever. There's never any of that. And so kudos to you guys for that. I was going to ask you what are some of the pain points, but I just don't feel like that's even a question anymore, JC.
I mean, unless there were.
Man, it depends on what set you're on. I've been casting over 100 films, and it's not always that way. When you work with good people, you want to work with good people again. As Jeff mentioned, we've done 3 films together now as a little troupe. And so when you work with good people and you get along and everybody has the same game plan, everybody has, the purpose in mind, and you're kind of driven to make it work, you get along. But I've been on some sets where it doesn't work like that. So it's not always that way. Believe me. Yeah.
We've gotten some good ones on here then. I think the cool thing about independent films or independent horror or anything is the fact that, you guys are such a team that, a lot of times you guys are doing multiple jobs, wearing multiple hats, trying to accomplish the same goal to get it done in a 7-day period or a 10-day period so that you can meet, your budget. And so I just think that's awesome. JC, you're up.
Yeah. What do you, this is for Carl and Ellen, ladies first. What do you feel like you brought to your character?
Well, I don't know what I brought to my character, but I tried to bring, I tried to live every moment truthfully, from the position of a mother who, there is a point in your child's development when they become teenagers where you get both frightened for them, and you also have trouble communicating. As far back as high school was, I'm still really good friends with a lot of my high school friends, and we often talk about how it's amazing we're still alive. I mean, we used to do stupid stuff like drive down a hill with trees in a pickup truck at the back of a pickup truck, drunk and high out of our minds, and how we never hit a tree. Oh my God, like remembering stuff like that. And then you think about your children. My sister's son just hitchhiked to Costa Rica to go surfing. Their their van broke down and they just put their thumbs out and they got picked up by the right people and fortunately made it back alive. It's things like that. So, I have a lot of sort of personal experience as a child to draw from. I drove my parents crazy. Of course, they didn't know half of the stuff that I that I was doing. It was pretty funny. Well, it's funny only because I'm alive. But anyway, so that was kind of like the point sort of where I was with my daughter, who is beautiful, and a free spirit and concern for her well-being. So that's where, and sad about the fact that we were having trouble, taking a vacation to get away and try to mend, find that connection again. Very, very easy to identify with. Yeah. Really,
now,
really.
Ellen, you could have just said that you brought Fireball to the table. Is that what you guys were taking shots of, or was that fake, or was that sweet tea?
Oh,
yeah,
I love Fireball. I don't think we were really. I don't think we were. Were we really drinking, Jeff? I can't remember.
No, it was tea. It was iced tea that looked just like Fireball, and that's
nice.
So they haven't. Those faces were so real, but it was because the tea tasted terrible.
Yeah, no, I love that fire. I have some in the it's like terrible. That's the stuff I like to drink.
Well, here in Slashville, we're diehard Jack D drinkers. Uh-huh. So when you come down, you need to go to the is the Jack Daniel's distillery that's here? You got to check that out and do a tour.
Lynchburg, Tennessee, man. It's not that far from Nashville, and it's good. It's so good. Wow. So good.
Carl, right. What about Carl? What about you, man? You brought the law.
Yeah, same thing. You want to be authentic. You want to be realistic. You try to bring an approach that where you connect with the other actors. You got to give them something to work with. So, and I think the ability to portray a lawman in a realistic way is, very not much different than when I was a high school principal. So I was a high school principal for 4 years. So it's just like being a cop every day, Yeah. So it's, and I've had law enforcement training as well. So pretty easy to fit right in that role and try to bring the realism and the approach that a real lawman would have. So, yeah. And connect with the other actors in the film and let them get something from you and give it back and all those good things, man. And then try to kill somebody, because that's the best thing you can do. I've been killed a bunch, but I like to kill them too.
Nice. Jeff, what was it? What was your take on seeing these two perform out, underneath your direction, Evil Under the Skin? Like, what was it like, seeing them act this out every day and, you filming this?
You just, honestly and truthfully, you just realize how fortunate you are to work with these type of guys. Carl was so easy to work with and had such a depth of knowledge on his character, meaning not just the character itself, but how a policeman acts, how a sheriff acts, how they would deliver certain information. It gives an authenticity to what he does just out of the gate. And with Ellen, it's just, going back to, you can throw whatever you want at her, and she's just going to take it and continue to produce. And
very flattering.
And I just can't I don't know. I can't overstate that enough. Can't understate it enough. It's just, when you work with someone, you're like, all right, so now you're going to act, completely crazy. And I want you to throw a tantrum on the floor, and I want you to do all these things, and I want you to have a personal. I want you to have an authentic feel and flavor for all these things, and it's completely unreasonable. That's the business we're in, and to be able to throw whatever when you're working with someone like her, and you have that confidence and that comfort of knowing I can throw whatever I want at her, and she's going to take it and going to be able to turn it into something awesome. That to have that level of confidence in someone, it makes your day so much easier. You're never worried if they're going to be able to perform. You're never worried you're going to be able to produce at a high level. Both of these guys, they'll just take you put to them, and they'll make it into something great. And I mean, it sounds simple, but it surely isn't, and it is something that I really admire the work.
I gotta say this too, the fact that we were sleeping on the set that we were shooting on, for me, and I was a little concerned about this because, of course, without giving too much away, my character does get a little crazy, and I am a little bit of a method actress. So I was, I was concerned that I was actually difficult to work with, because we would have long days, and then we would wake up and we would have breakfast at the same table that we were shooting at. And for me, I'm not ever sure if I ever did get out of character. I had tremendous concern for the little girl that was playing my daughter, and you know, yeah, I was very concerned about her.
I'd be concerned for her too, because it seemed like she was always losing her clothes in this film.
I noticed that, and I was like, "Darling, come on now." Yeah, and I was a little freaked out, like, as the character, as things went on, because I mean, and I love to work that way. I like to work that way when reality kind of gets blurred. There is a danger to it if you're playing a character that is in trouble, uh, but also like having the permission to sort of just go as far with it as you can. Try to feel that thing out. Is really really fun. If I had been going back and forth to set, and in my little hotel room and unwinding and watching TV and doing all that, I don't know that would have served the purpose. So there's something really wonderful about working on films this way, like a family, like we're in the trenches together. I really enjoyed that.
I loved it. What about you, RL?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought that you could definitely tell. It's funny because in a lot of films that we've watched and stuff, especially when typically our casts have been a little bit smaller on the films that we've done prior to now. So, when you have a movie that has 4 or 5 people in it, or even 8 or 10 people, typically you can tell when there's not that type of camaraderie and that tightness between the crew. Like, it just kind of shows. It's not the fact that it's bad or makes it worse, but it definitely shines through as the movie goes on. You can definitely tell you guys worked very well together. Obviously, we didn't know that you guys slept under the same roof for 7 days, which, like, it's like going home for Christmas. Like, if I had to film a movie with my family after being with them for 7 days, I mean, it'd be a little bit like this film.
It'd be a horror film for sure.
Absolutely. But no, it was really good. I mean, it was just very, very interesting. I love the fact that there was a twist. Like, it was nice because a lot of times we spend, either a very short amount of time telling a story and there's no twist, or a long time telling a story and there's no twist. So this one having that ending definitely made it stand out to me as one of the better ones that we've been able to see.
Absolutely.
We need to give Jeff some credit here. Now, he's talked about how well we worked with him, but Jeff does a great job working with actors as well. And it's a two-way street. He's given us that leeway and that opportunity to give our input into the characters. So, Jeff did a great job working with each one of us as actors, putting us all together on a team, working with us every day. And he was you said earlier about wearing multiple hats. Well, that's what Jeff did. Right. Still does that. He did everything to make it as smooth as possible for us to be successful. And I would echo your sentiments. I've been in a lot of films I won't even go back and watch, but this one turned out very well, and it was, it's a low budget. We know that, but it turned out very well for what we did. And so let's give some kudos to Jeff out there. Great job, my friend.
Absolutely. All the kudos to Jeff for putting this together. Well, we're getting to the part where we typically would close out our chat here, coming down to the last 15 minutes. First off, Jeff, where can our viewers check out Evil Under the Skin?
It's on a bunch of different platforms. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Google Play. Those are the two primary ones that I generally push because they're the easiest ones to remember.
I found it on Tubi.
Yeah, and on Tubi actually is another great place to watch it. It's an advertised network, so it is free to watch there. You can also buy the DVD if you like. Some people like to have the physical DVD. You can buy that from Amazon as well.
We love physical media.
And you're right about
physical. Fantastic. Well, here, RL, he's gonna let's get to the part where all of our people lay out a little advice. So, what would all of you say to those watching who are also in the independent film realm? If you could be Tony Robbins for a little bit, give them your best advice. Jeff, upcoming indie film director, wannabe. What would you say, Carl, Ellen, to actors? Start with Jeff. What would you say to somebody up and coming?
I would say build yourself a crew, and it doesn't matter if you're starting out, you don't have the best equipment. The more you get out there, the more you practice, and also getting on film set. The first 2 or 3 movies I worked on, I was fortunate. I got to work with Tom Sizemore, I got to work with some other name actors, and I got to see that on production budgets that were maybe $500, $1 million, $2 million, they were very little different between those and the type of movies we shoot. Very little different. So I would say to someone who's up and coming, get on movie set. Go to your local cable access station. You can generally rent out equipment and they'll teach you how to use it for almost no money. It's publicly funded. There is opportunities out there for you to learn your craft. If you feel I'm not wealthy enough, I don't have enough equipment, there's options for you. If you want to learn, you can get out there on those sets. You can learn the business. You can learn how to function on an indie set, and you just have to want to get out there and do it.
Great advice. Carl, what about yourself?
So from an acting perspective, it's all about the reps. You got to do the reps. If you want to get in the business, get involved, as Jeff said, you need to get on set, do the reps, whether it's in class. Basically, that's how I got started. I got booked on NBC series as a recurring U.S. Marshal, a featured role. From there, I went to Louisiana, worked on some major motion pictures. And as Jeff mentioned, I was able to see how those guys work. Tarantino, and, it was a $400 million, a little bit bigger than these indie films, but you get to see how everybody works on set. And so you get around it. So the best thing to do is just get out there and get your hands dirty, do the reps, and just keep pushing it. So as for an actor, it's a numbers game. It's all about the numbers. It's 10 million actors out there. Everybody thinks they're an actor. Everybody thinks they're an actor. And so you just got to stay at it, discipline, dedication, determination, and just go get it.
Amen. And last but not least, lovely Ellen, what do you have for us?
Well, first of all, I want to commend Carl for saying it is discipline, dedication, and determination, because I have, I'm around a lot of hopeful actors, and it's amazing how many of these people think they really want to act, but they really don't want to put in the hard work. Determination. It's also a business. You've got to keep up with things. You've got to, you've got to be available. You've got to be on time. You've got to be somebody that people want to work with. So, uh, if you have those things, if you have determination and you have discipline and you have drive, you are 90% ahead of 75% of the actors out there, because it does take, it's hard work being being an actor, being dedicated. It's hard work being in this business. um, the second thing that I would say is, get lucky and work with beautiful people like Jeff, uh,
Yes.
and who picks the crew and the cast really well, and then just be available for everything on that set. Soak it up. um, I have been, when I was a tiny little tot, stupid enough to think that I knew better than the director might know, or whatever. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to appreciate that everybody on the set has the thing that they do, and just like, be part of the wheel, be part of the cog in the wheel, be present for everything. Let your director give you the direction. Don't do, sometimes, like, there's that secret thing that we all used to do as kids, or you might want to do, is like, yeah, 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 and then go do your thing. And I've just learned, that if you have a great director, put yourself in their hands and trust their vision. Like, you can tell that with this script, that there was a vision there, right? I mean, the script has a style, it has a sensibility about it, and you may not know what the director's up to. So you just have to trust and allow him to create the story. As an actor, you are actually the cog, and he is the painter. He paints the story, and you bring the color he wants. You know what I mean? And then trust it's going to be beautiful. So I would say there is a tendency for an actor to go, no, no, I know everything about the character, whatever. And a film really works well when everybody, especially an indie film, when everybody is working together on the director's vision. And it was worth it, obviously, in this case. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we love our indie films. We love our indie filmmakers and actors and actresses. Thank you so much, all of you, for being a part of it and helping realize Jeff's vision. Jeff, thank you for doing what you did. You put together a great film, man. We're going to make sure everybody that we possibly can know check it out.
Hey, JC, before we jump too quickly to the very, very end, we had in our notes, and Ellen, you can help us out with this a little bit.
Sure.
Do you want to create a kids party?
Yes. Do I want to create a kids party?
What is create a kids party?
You want to plug that?
Very funny. That's such a funny question, because my other job, being a scream queen,
Right.
is a clown, a children's entertainer. I'm a children's entertainer. Actually, Jeff and I have that in common, because Jeff used to work in the circus. Like, he should tell you all
I
about
did.
Okay.
We love some fun facts at the end.
But Create a Kids Party is my children's entertainment company, and that's what we do. We create kids parties.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how JC came up with it. Like, this guy, yeah, I'm pretty sure JC worked for the CIA back in like his early years, because he comes up. I'll be looking at my notes and I'm like, okay, Carl, it says here you used to be a male stripper back in your younger days. Could you tell us a little bit about that? And he's like, what? How'd you get
I
his
know a guy who
W2s,
knows
JC?
somebody very high up in government.
There you
Right.
go.
But I think JC, I mean, obviously these guys, they did a fantastic job. I enjoyed the film. I thought it was great. And we're here to obviously promote the horror indie, circuit and independent films. And golly, this was another good one, JC. I
for
really
sure.
loved it.
For
Yep.
sure. Glad we got to check it out. Once again, we can't thank Miss Shari over at Samaria Entertainment and Midnight Releasing enough for getting us all together. She is phenomenal. I hope that they keep coming. We'll do
Keep
it.
them coming.
Can't wait to do episode 10. Hopefully we might have some of you guys back at one point. So without further ado, thank you guys so much. This has been episode 10 of Behind the Horror. No,
9.
episode 9. Sorry, episode 9. Episode 9 of Brown Mint Horror's Behind the Horror. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to chatting with you again.
Thanks guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.